Today on our 2017 Chrysler Pacifica, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install the CURT Class 3 Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C13383. This is what our hitch looks like when it's installed. Now you can see the cross tube, however it does have a round tube design. It's nice and tucked under the vehicle, so it fits with the contour. It's pretty well hidden. This is going to be a Class 3. It's going to be 2" by 2". It's going to have a reinforced collar to give you a little extra stability on your receiver tube. Hitch pin hole is going to be 5/8 inch in diameter. Safety chain ring is going to have plate style. You can see it's got plenty of room for different size safety chain hooks. Now this hitch is going to have a 400-pound max tongue weight, which is a downward pressure on the inside of the receiver tube. It's going to have a 4,000-pound max trailer weight, which is the trailer plus the load included. Now you can use weight distribution with this hitch. Tongue weight is going to go up to 500 pounds. Trailer weight is going to go up to 5,000 pounds. However, I do recommend checking your owner's manual to make sure your vehicle can withstand that amount of weight, and you're going to want to pick the lowest number between the vehicle and the hitch. Now let me give you a few measurements to help you when deciding on any hitch mount accessories you may need, such as a bike rack, ball mount, or cargo carrier. From the center of the hitch pin hole to the outermost part of the bumper will be about 3.5 inches. From the ground to the top innermost part of the receiver tube will be about 13 inches. Now let's show you how to get this installed. First thing we need to do to start our installation is we need to remove this under panel. We're going to be using an 8mm socket, and you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws that we're going to need to remove. Next, we're going to use a 10mm socket. You're going to have 2 screws right back here in the back that are connecting these 2 panels. Using the same 10mm socket, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plastic nuts. Next, we're going to take a flathead screwdriver. You just put it up inside this plastic flat nut here. Sometimes they'll unscrew. If they don't, if you put a little bit of pressure on it, they'll pull down. Then we're going to have 2 8mm screws right here on the inside of the wheel well. Then we can pull our panel out. We'll set it aside. It is going to have to be trimmed. We'll set it aside for now. Next thing we need to do is remove our exhaust. You're going to have an isolator here, and you're going to have one right here in the center. We're going to spray each one down with some lubricant just to help it come off a little bit easier. Then we'll take a pry bar. Make sure you be careful with the panel. We're going to pry it off the bottom. Like that. And the same thing with this one. Next, we're going to use a 10mm socket. You're going to have 2 plastic nuts that are holding your heat shield on. One's going to be right here. One's going to be right back here. Slide this out of the way. And we're going to have to trim this also. So now we're going to cut our heat shield. Per our instructions, we're going to go 13 down and 5 in. We'll go from this edge, 13 down. I'm going to use a paint marker. A black magic marker will work too. We'll be taking off all this. I'm going to take some aviation shears or 10 snips to cut it. Next, we'll test fit it to make sure we have enough cut out so that we can get our hitch into place. Now we can reinstall our heat shield. We're not going to be using the plastic nut up there because we cut that section off. We're going to be using the one towards the front of the vehicle, right over here. And here on our driver's side, what we're going to do is we're going to take our pull wire. We're going to be using this hole and this hole. We're going to start with this hole. I'm going to put just a slight bend in the end of it. We're going to feed the spring end of the pull wire up through the hole, and we're going to come out here. We're going to take a spacer block, feed it up through the hole. You're going to take a carriage bolt, thread it onto the end of your pull wire, push it up to the hole, back out like that. For this back one, we're going to be doing what's called a reverse pull. First, we're going to put on our spacer block, then we're going to thread on our bolt. Then we're going to feed the bolt first, then we're going to follow this with the spacer block, just like You're going to do the same thing on the passenger side, with the exception you're going to be using this hole also. So you're going to have 3 of these on the passenger side. Next, you'll see a little bolt here or stud with a nut on it. We're going to need to remove the nut. So we'll use a 10mm socket to do that. And you're only going to have that on the driver's side. Now with an extra set of hands, we'll raise our hitch in position. We're going to go over the exhaust on the driver's side. You want to make sure you feed your pull wires through the appropriate holes. And we'll add on the flange nut. We'll go ahead and add one on the other side. That'll hold your hitch into place until we get the remaining hardware in. Little tech tip, you are able to rest your hitch on your exhaust before you put it into place. We'll pull our wire off, and then we'll take one of our flange nuts, get it threaded on. Now that we've got one of our flange nuts on both sides, holding our hitch in place, we can go ahead and install the rest of our hardware. Now we'll take a 3/4 inch socket and tighten all of our hardware down. Now for these back 2 on the passenger side, or 2 that are most forward toward the front of the vehicle, it's probably a good idea to use a swivel to get on it flush. Once you have them all tight, and we can torque them to the specifications and the instructions. Then you're going to repeat that process for all remaining hardware. Now we can reinstall our exhaust. This time we're going to start with the one in the center, and then do the one in the back with the same process. Spray it down with a little bit of lubricant. It'll help it slide on a little bit easier. Next, we'll cut our underbody panel. For our instructions, it says to go from the center of this hole out 6 inches. I'm going to use just a black paint marker because it kind of matches the panel. And then from that mark, we're going to come in 10 inches. And then from that mark, we're going to come out this way. And we'll take aviation shears and we can cut that section out. Now we can reinstall our underbody panel. Now, as you can see, we're still a little bit off. So we're going to go back and modify this just a little bit more to give us a little bit more room. And we'll just keep repeating that process until we get it to fit in right. Once you have your underbody panel trimmed the way you need it, then you just reinstall it in reverse order from the way you took it out. That'll do it for a look at and installation on the CURT Class 3 Trailer Hitch Receiver, part number C13383 on our 2017 Chrysler Pacifica.